This video is brought to you by Hiawatha Hobbies. Hiawatha has you covered for all your model railroading needs, whatever scale or era you model. They have everything from Z to G. Be sure to check them out at the link in the description. Alright, hey guys, so today we're going to be reviewing the brand new Walthers Trainline GP15-1. Retail on this locomotive is $79.98, but you can pick them up right now at Hiawatha Hobbies for around $50. Let's get started with a little bit of history on these locomotives. The EMD GP15-1 is a 4-axle road switcher diesel-electric locomotive built by EMD between June 1976 and March 1982, intended to provide an alternative to the rebuilding programs that many railroads were applying to their early road switchers. This locomotive is powered by a 12-cylinder EMD 645E engine, which generates 1,500 horsepower. A total of 310 units were built for American railroads. A number of GP15s remain in service today for yard work and light road duty. Another version of the GP15 was the GP15T. The GP15T is commonly confused with the GP15-1, seeing as they are the same car body and same design. The GP15 was built between October 1982 and April 1983. It is a very close cousin to the GP15-1, but used a turbocharger in order to generate more power from a smaller engine. Power was provided by an 8-cylinder diesel engine that generated 1,500 horsepower, the same output as the GP15-1, but with fewer cylinders. 28 examples of this model were built for American railroads, most of which go into the chassis system.
Now let's talk about the model. The packaging on this is just about the same as the old Trainline GP9Ms. There's just a block of styrofoam protecting the locomotive. Inside you have an owner's manual with just some lubrication and cleaning tips, as well as a warranty card. The locomotive is in this styrofoam block protected by this block of ice on the front. To get the locomotive out, just lift up on the block of ice, and then the locomotive will just fall out of the packaging. One thing to note is there is a little baggie in the packaging with the plows should you want to apply them. One thing I would like to note before I get started in this review is that this is a budget model. It is not intended to be exactly prototype specific. Any prototype inaccuracies are there to save cost. On the front of the locomotive there is a die-cast metal coupler, which is a big upgrade from the plastic couplers that they used to use on these Trainline models. There's also little nubs for where you could apply grab irons if you want to. Here are the marker lights and the Union Pacific Herald. Up a little farther on the cab, here's the light of the locomotive along with the number boards, and a 3-chime Nathan horn. All of the cab windows have glazing in them, which looks very nice. On the side of the cab, here's the Union Pacific logo, the GP15-1 designation, and the number and road name. The trucks on this model are not painted, they're cast in this color, so they just look a little weird. If I got any of these locomotives, I would probably weather these up a little bit to take that weird color off of them, because they just don't look quite right. On the side of the locomotive, you can see all these radiator vents going down the side of the locomotive, along with the ST40T-2 style radiator. There is no dynamic brake on any of the models that Walthers offers, because the only railroad that got these locomotives with dynamic brakes was the Chesapeake and Ohio. The only real gaps that I noticed in the paint was these gray dots above the latches on the doors. On the back of the locomotive, you have another Protomax knuckle coupler, handrails, number boards, class lights, and rear headlight. There's not a whole lot going on the top of this locomotive. You just have that 3-chime horn again, the exhaust stacks, and then that radiator section. These radiators do have some cast-in detail, which makes them look very good. If we compare this GP15 to an old Trainline GP9, you can see that there have been some major improvements made to the Trainline locomotives from the last locomotive, the GP9. They got the number boards all flush like they should be. The headlights have been upgraded so they're brighter. The windows look much better. The handrails look much better. And we have metal couplers instead of these plastic couplers. So a lot of upgrades have been made to this locomotive to make it a little bit nicer while still having a nice budget price. There have also been some pretty significant driveline changes to this locomotive to make it run nicer. First of all, it has dual flywheels instead of the single that used to be included on the Trainline models, and the frame has been entirely redone so that you can actually have a circuit board inside of this locomotive instead of having to hardwire a decoder the old-fashioned way. If I get one of these for myself, I will be doing a video on how to do a DCC install on one of these. I already have done a video on how to install DCC in a GP9, and you can click up in the corner to see that. One nice thing about this driveline is it shares the same truck towers wheels, and gears as the old GP9s. So parts for this locomotive are going to be very easy to find fairly cheaply. For instance, you can get a parts GP9 for in between $10 and $20, and then you would have enough parts to rebuild a few of these GP15s. I think that both of these locomotives look very good, and they run pretty well. I think that Walthers has done a great job in making these locomotives look very good, run very good, and be very budget friendly. You can get these locomotives in a train set that's around $230, which is a very good starter train set.
Alright, thank you guys very much for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.